Hello everyone, my name is Steven Velasquez, and today I'll be presenting you Panther Ledger, a project made for the 2026 spring semester capstone presentation. Alright, to get started, we're going to run Panther Ledger to our local system. And to make that possible, we need to make sure that certain prerequisites are installed. Those prerequisites are as follows: Python, Node.js, and Git, with the respective version. Once that's done, we go ahead with the setup process, which is cloning the repository, configuring the database, setting up the Python backend, and then setting up the React frontend. All of which can be followed on our GitHub repository, Panther Ledger. Fortunately for us, I have all of that set up on our local machine that we'll be using today. Alright, to get started with our internationalizing our backend, we run this command right here: uvcorn app.api app reload. So dash reload. And then this right here will make sure that our backend is running smoothly. So let's just give it a sec, and there we go. Now we need to make a new terminal where we have to change the directory to our front end to make sure we could run our front end. And to make that possible, we do cd and then front end slash Panther Ledger, and then we run this command right here, which is npm run dev, and then it will create a local URL that you could use to host your site. So go ahead and click that button, and then it will take you to the hero page, where it basically lists out why we built Panther Ledger, and how it works. And then at the very bottom, it will show you a button to get started. In the header, we have our features tab, meet the team, login, sign up. In the features tab, it lists out all the features that Panther Ledgers have to offer, such as a financial dashboard, transaction tracking, smart search and filtering, etc. And then lastly, for our hero page, we have meet the team, where it basically lists out all the developers that made this possible, with a short bio and their links to their respective links to their LinkedIn and GitHub. All right, to get started, we click here, get started, and it will take you to this page right here, where it will ask for your first name, last name, username, email, phone number, address, zip code, password. And then at the very bottom, it will ask you to agree with the terms of services and privacy policies. Basically, our terms of services is all listed out here for our users to know. And then we also have our privacy, making sure that we have clear transparency on all the information that we are collecting for them. Alright. Luckily for us, I already have an account all set up for us. But once you're making your account, once you're done with the sign up process, it will take you to the onboarding page, where it basically has three different cards. And the first card, it will ask you the preference on why you want to use Panther Ledger. And then the second one will be your personal finances. So it asks for your income, your job title, and then how you get paid. And then you have any expenses. And then the last one will be notification preferences. Again, I skipped all of that to save time and to go right ahead. Alright, so just give me 1 second to log in. Alright, so this right here is our dashboard. At the very top of the dashboard, it gives you a full financial picture at a glance. This right here is updated daily, every month. So for this month, Roy has spent $24, but he hasn't income anything, and then so therefore his net will be negative 24.56. All of which is happening in real time. Below that, it will gives Peppy, our AI powered financial assistant, will give you a short will give you a short, like, we'll tell you something worth knowing. So for instance, I'll tell you, like, oh, you spent a certain amount in a certain category, for instance food, or you haven't uploaded a bank statement for this month, and so on. And then on the dashboard, it also has a Venn diagram for our net cash flow by month, where it basically shows you where your net was at the end of the month. So you can see that my net out of this February was 21, whereas my net in November was 288. Right next to that would be a donut chart where it basically breaks down all the finances by categories. The categories that we're using that Rory has, for instance, is finance, shopping, healthcare, groceries, transport, food, subscriptions, general, and then entertainment. And then all the way in the bottom, it has a card for all the recent transactions. So anything that you recently bought or anything that recently popped up in your statement will be shown here. And then lastly, to finish with the dashboard page, it has a calendar where it basically shows you um, any recurring payments that are incoming, or and those payments could either be payments or they could be deposits. And then when it's orange, that means it's both. All right, so let's go ahead and click on transactions to continue on. Transactions, it gives you more detail about your expenses for the year. So for instance, my total expense for the year is currently this amount. My total deposit is 16,000. Right now I'm net negative 206. Rory's net negative 206. And then it basically lists out all the transactions that it has gotten from your bank statements. Now we could sort that out because currently we have 466 transactions. In order to help our users, we could sort it out by expensive deposits or by categories So for instance, I want to see how much I spent on food, and we'll go ahead and see how much I have by food. And then we can also sort it out by the highest amount compared to the lowest, and then the recent to the newest. And then lastly, if you want to add any transactions, for instance, I paid something with cash at the grocery store today, we could go ahead and click add transactions. Let's say it was a grocery run and I wasted 24.56. 24.56 food, and then expense would be expense, and then it'll be, you can set it out for the date, and then you can also put that if it's recurring. It gives you that option. So go ahead and click add transactions, and then there you go. You can see that my net has decreased even more, and our total expense has also decreased even more. And then if you want to see it right here, you just click grocery run, and then it will show right here. Following that will be the recurring page, where the recurring page basically sums down how any recurring payments or recurring income that you have from your bank statements. So Rory currently has 233 with 36 cents in bills that he's paying monthly, and then his income is 0. And then it also shows how many of them are active and then how many of them are paused. This is primarily for subscriptions. If you have an active subscriptions, for instance Hulu Plus, it will show up as active. But if I were to click no, it will show as I pause Hulu, and so it will show up here that under pause. And then lastly, in the top part, it will say due this week. So I will tell you how many payments you have due in this week. So I have 4 weeks. 4 in this. Rory has 4 for this week, which is 17 and 18. And then here is lists out all the recurring payments, if they're expenses, and then if they're accounts. And then right here is the 4 that it's due soon. So that'll be the FIU bookstore, the Fritanga, and then the barbershop. Alright, if you want to get even more in detail on how you're spending your money, you click on the spending tab. So since April has started, you can see that there's not much information. Maybe we'll go ahead and go back a month, and you can see that the information here is populated. So you can see that Rory has spent 5,404. That was, and then I will compare it to the other previous months. So for instance, compared to February, Rory was up 255% with his total expensive, and then it also shows the total deposit and that, and then how much they averagely spend per day. Underneath is a cumulative spend chart, which basically compares this month to last month on how you've been spending your money. The blue line will be March. The bottom yellow dash line will be for February. And you can see that per day, it'll show you how much you've been spending at that certain point. And then right here, there's a tab for daily, where it basically is out how much you spend per day in this month. So for instance, I see this big bar right here. I click on it and it will say that it was March 23 and that I spent 2,900 that I've already spent 2,391. Then underneath is the same donut chart that was on the dashboard but more detailed. When I say more detailed, is because you click on the category that you want and you can see all the transactions that help communicate that help with that value. And you can also see that it also highlights that category in the pie chart. So for finance, it will be 2,513. It shows that it's that amount, and then it shows how much of the total net was part of that category, which is in this case was 46%. And then lastly, we have the upload page. And the upload page is where you upload all your bank statements so that Pepe could easily parse the statements, categorize each of the transactions, and save it to your account. But yeah, that's everything that I have for Panther Ledger. I hope you enjoyed.